My name is Parneille, and my best friend suffers from depression. I grew up in Sacramento, California. I was raised in New York. Shout out to Harlem. I've been living in Los Angeles for the past 14 years. I work in television and post-production. I am single, if you know anybody. No, I'm just kidding. No. As a child, I don't think I was fully aware of mental illness. I think the only understanding that I had of mental illness as a child and growing up is that anyone who had any type of signs of like anything that was different, ordinary, was just like, they're crazy. So I never really had not that I know of, like anybody that was experiencing mental illness that I knew of in my family. And if they were, it wasn't really talked about. It actually probably wasn't until I moved to Los Angeles that I began to become a little more aware of mental illness, or just at least had like an understanding of it. Prior to that, it was just always like, oh, take it to the Lord in prayer. Like anything that you're going through, especially being in a Black community, being a Black woman, being raised by a Black woman, it was like, you don't show that anything's going wrong in your life. Everything is like covered in prayer. Go to church. Anytime anyone was suffering, it was like, just go to church. Oh, those people just don't know the Lord. That's what's wrong with them. So coming to Los Angeles and being hit with like real life issues and like meeting a diversity of people, different people, I was able to, be transparent with people like some of my friends and learn like, oh, that's what this is. Before this, you'd see like maybe a homeless person on the street, or like that quote unquote, different or interesting or crazy family member. And you don't really see mental illness as like, oh, there's people that are moving through life just like me, working jobs, that are educated, have families, and are living fully functional lives, but are suffering from mental illness. So once I saw it like that, it gave me an understanding of it. It made me more empathetic to it, and just it actually helped me kind of get through tough situations, just being aware of it. I have a close friend who suffers from anxiety and depression, and I don't think I actually really recognized it, but I think there was a time where, we were talking on the phone, and I was asking her, like, she just sounded really down, and I was asking questions like, how's it going? Is everything okay? And she was just like, no. I was like, is there anything you need me to do? No. Do you have anything, like, did something happen? No, nothing happened. I think I kept asking all these questions. She was just like, no. And I was like, wow, I don't know. I didn't really know what to do. So I think, so I just was like, oh, okay, well, I just kind of got off the phone. Once we got closer, she explained to me like, well, I suffer from depression. And so then even saying that was like, oh, wow, I had a heart for it, and I felt really bad. I didn't really know what to do. So I just kind of just thought that just being there and listening was like good enough. I just looked at it as, this is something that she suffers from. I'm still going to be a friend. But I didn't realize at that time, like, how to truly be a friend to somebody suffering from anxiety and depression. I just thought, I'm here. Interacting with my friend during her depression was at times very difficult. Was difficult for me because what normally, what you would think a person would do, or what you think you would do in a situation where you're like feeling down, or, not really feeling like yourself, those things weren't working for this friend. It was hard for me because I was like, I want my friend to be happy. I don't want my friend to be sad. I don't want, but what I didn't realize was like, her being depressed and being anxious wasn't the same as me feeling sad, or me feeling like I was depressed. Because I think everybody has feelings of sadness, depression, you go through mourning, you go through different situations in life. But most people are able to just bounce back. What I realized through my friend was like, everybody doesn't bounce back like that. Like, sometimes being there isn't even talking. Sometimes being there isn't going out and like being around a bunch of people. Sometimes going out is just sitting in the moment, just sitting there with that person to let them know like, I'm here, whatever that means. So I had to learn that over time. And it was difficult for me because I'm extroverted. I'm like social. I'm like, I want to go out. Let's go out. Because when I'm feeling bad, the last thing I want to do is like being by myself. I want to go out and be around people. But for the person who's going through what they're going through, it's like they want to be in solitude. And those are the things that you have to like look into. You have to research those things. Like I had to learn to look outside of what I know about mental illness and like go online. Like there's resources, like getting a book, opening a book and saying like, this person told me they're suffering from depression and anxiety. Let me look into it, to see how either I can help them or like, what does it look like? Because I didn't really know what it looked like. Black people tend to put everything into religion or prayer or friendships and think like, oh, well, just talk to somebody, talk to your friends, or like what, why don't you talk to your mom? Why don't you talk to your dad? You have all of these people around you. Why don't you go to church? Oh, you haven't opened your Bible. I think the perception of mental illness is that it could be fixed in like a book, but I don't think the Black community really realizes that some of these conditions are clinical and like require more attention. And they think, oh, that's white people stuff. Like, girl, you went to counseling, like that's what white people do. Like, no, sis, that's just what people should do. Like, if you get cut, you put on a Band-Aid. If you have cancer, you go to a doctor. And I don't think that Black people have an understanding that depression is something like it deals with your brain, and like your brain is in your body. If you go to the doctor for your heart, why wouldn't you go to the doctor to deal with something that's going on in your head? I even think on a larger scale, I think over the years, mental illness has affected our community as a whole, as far as, going into violence and how we deal with like molestation and, incest in our families, and just the way that we discipline our children has to do with depression. Like, mama would snap at me. I didn't realize that she was struggling, but I'm like, why is mom so mad? Like, I'm just trying to show her my painting. Like, she possibly could have been going through some depression or possibly could be suffering from something. I can probably pinpoint a lot of issues in my family. That uncle that does this or that auntie that does that. I could probably pinpoint like, oh, they're probably suffering from this, but never acknowledged it, never diagnosed it. I think that the Black community is running around with a bunch of undiagnosed conditions, and we're just passing it on from generation to generation, just based on just what we've been through as a people, like probably going all the way back from slavery. Right? We're suffering from like post-traumatic stress, and we deal with a lot of things that other people in this country don't deal with or don't even have to think about dealing with on a daily basis. And I just feel like it's a lot of undiagnosed conditions in our community. I think going through the experience that I did with my friend, it helped me kind of reach in and be a better friend. I think it helped me in my personal life to identify certain times in my life where I feel like, oh, I may be depressed. Like, it helped me do like mental checks with myself and just being more aware. It helped me be more empathetic to others around me who may be suffering. There are some people who do definitely have character flaws, and you're not going to get along with everybody, but it helped me understand like how to deal with others around me and kind of how to manage myself as well. The advice I would give to anybody who has someone who is suffering or who you think is suffering, if you do know that they're suffering from some sort of mental illness, be patient with them. Just be there. If you really care about this person, if this is a loved one, someone that you really care about, just be patient with them. Meet them where they are and like try to see if you can help them that way. But also realize that you're not a therapist, you're not a professional, you're not trained. And honestly, even if you are, it's probably best to not try to treat that person. Take it to a person that you trust, like recommend them to go, Don't push that person, because that person's gonna wanna go and do when they're ready. But just be there for them and be empathetic to them. Like, try to picture yourself in that situation. And if you can't relate to that particular condition, think of something that you have suffered from and that you wanted someone to be there for you. Like, if you broke your leg, you didn't want anybody to just sit there and leave you there. You'd want someone to be there for you. So just like try to empathize with the person and don't take anything personal, because sometimes that friend will be mean. They will literally shut the door in your face, which is something that my friend did to me. But you got to, if you care about that person, you have to just keep continuing to like, chase after them. Don't be pushy. You're not going to fix them. You're not going to cure it. You're not going to cure anything, but you could definitely be there and help them get to their better days. Don't say things like get over it. Don't say pray about it. Those all may be true things, but in the heat of the moment, the last person somebody wants you to tell them is to pray about it. Oh, just pray about it. The Lord will be there. No, God is a very powerful being, but that's not going to help me in the moment. If you have someone in your life and you're thinking, oh, I can't deal with her or him anymore, I'm gonna cut them off. I would truly think about encouraging that person to see someone, because I think once you get to a point where you feel like I need to cut this person off, you then feel like, okay, this is entering areas of my life that I don't necessarily like. It's making you uncomfortable, and it kind of can feel like, oh, this is exhausting and this is hard for me. If you have like a close group of friends around you, talk to someone that they're very, 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 very close to, and maybe they can help you. If that person has siblings, mom, dad, uncle, another best friend, like say, hey, our friend is going through this. What should we do? Like, do it as a team, as a group. Don't just cut that person off. I will, even with that, I will say that there are times where you as a person, it's just like being a caretaker to somebody who is ill. Even as you're helping your friend go through what they're going through, you do need to take some self-care. You know what I mean? Like, that's in anything. You do need to do whatever you need to do for yourself, because you can't help anyone if you're depleted or if you're drained. But don't ever step away. Don't ever just cut that person off merely because of what they're going through. If you feel like they're harmful to your life, like, yeah, maybe so, but that's when you need to consult your other close friends. Like, hey, let's help our friend, because he or she may be wanting to harm themselves or other people. I'm feeling stressed. I'm feeling, whatever. But don't ever just leave that person. That's like the last thing you should do. Join the conversation at ourblackdoescrack.com.